Imagine opening your company's bank account and seeing $40 billion sitting there. Real money, not promises, not projections, cash. Now imagine picking up the phone and borrowing another $10 billion at interest. That sounds insane, almost irresponsible. And yet some of the richest companies on earth do this all the time. Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon. Companies swimming in cash, still borrowing like they're broke. This isn't a glitch, it's not bad management, and it's definitely not an accident. It's how modern finance actually works, and once you see it, the idea of having money will never feel the same again. Right now, this matters more than ever, because corporate debt is near record highs. Interest rates moved faster in 2 years than in the last 4 decades, and the companies borrowing the most are the ones you thought needed money the least. So let's strip away the jargon. No balance sheet gymnastics, no MBA language, just the system as it really is. Start with something simple. What does cash actually do? Cash just sits there. It doesn't grow, it doesn't move, it doesn't impress anyone. In a company, cash is safety. It's insurance. It's the ability to survive surprises. But cash is also inefficient. If you're a giant company, cash earns almost nothing. Meanwhile, inflation quietly eats it every year. So executives face a weird problem. They don't want to spend the cash, they don't want to lose the cash, and they don't want it sitting uselessly either. Now enter debt. Debt isn't just money you owe. In modern finance, debt is a tool. And for big companies, it's a very cheap tool. Here's the uncomfortable part. When you're massive, profitable, and stable, lenders beg you to borrow. Banks, bond investors, pension funds, insurance companies, they all want one thing: safe returns. And lending to a giant corporation is about as safe as finance gets. So the cost of borrowing for these companies becomes incredibly low, sometimes lower than inflation, which means they're effectively being paid to borrow. That's not a metaphor, that's math. If inflation is 4% and you borrow at 3%, the real value of what you owe shrinks over time. Debt quietly dissolves. Now compare 2 options. Option 1, spend your own cash. Once it's gone, it's gone. Option 2, borrow cheap money. Keep your cash untouched. Let inflation do some of the work of paying the debt for you. Suddenly, borrowing doesn't look reckless, it looks strategic. But this still doesn't explain the most confusing part. Why borrow when you already have the money? Here's where it gets interesting. Corporate cash isn't always where you think it is. For years, many multinational companies kept huge amounts of cash overseas. Not because they liked tropical islands, but because bringing that money home triggered massive taxes. So instead of paying billions in taxes, they did something clever. They left the cash abroad and borrowed money domestically. Yes, they borrowed while sitting on piles of cash. It sounds absurd, but it was cheaper than paying taxes. Even after tax laws changed, the behavior stuck because the logic still works. Debt gives flexibility. Cash is static. Debt is dynamic. With borrowed money, companies can buy back shares, acquire competitors, build factories, or just reshape their balance sheet to look better to investors. And investors love a certain kind of math: return on equity. Here's the quiet trick. When a company uses debt instead of its own cash, it keeps equity smaller, and smaller equity makes returns look bigger. Same business, same profits, better looking numbers. Nothing illegal, nothing secret.